Hello, this is Brian Whitten and ET Art. How are you today? Welcome back to the channel. I'm going to call this video Nuclear Holocaust Part 4, the Queen. I've come back to this picture here just before I get started. If you're 12 or younger, can you please go and get your parents or carer to watch the video first, please? Thanks very much. The rest of you that have been here before, I'm not going to go back and rehash again today. I wanted to come back here and I started with this microscopic image of a river rock yet again, and I have discussed with you what I believe we're being told here, that this portion here is in actual fact the Great Australian Bight, the lower portion of Australia. These here are formed, these boats here are formed here, and I'll move in again, yet again, just to let you know that we were being told that being created by a shadow, that this boat is a destroyer. We are seeing an R here, very clearly an R, because it's a Royal Naval vessel. I wanted to go on from this, and I will come back to the Great Australian Bight, which is why I've wanted to start with this today. This was in my Perth to be Nuke video. For those of you who haven't been to this channel, I would recommend you go back and look at probably the last half a dozen or so videos on my YouTube channel, so that you would understand why we've got to this point. Now, before moving on, I have had people say to me in my social media channel and my private Facebook account, of the place where I post my links to my YouTube channel, that people, why would the elite take the option of nuclear holocaust? These people that we are talking about to be judged here are going to be judged by people from another world. They will be sentenced based on, laws beyond our planet here, but by living beings. I would expect that if you do not understand the elite of our world, who sit where they sit with printed paper money and stolen wealth, and you think they are going to pack up their child sacrificing ways, that they're going to give up their use of adrenochrome, that they're going to give away their control of the rest of us with printed paper money, and you think the elite lose with grace, and you think the elite lose with dignity, the elite do not lose with either of those two. The elite of our world lose with revenge, and that is how they operate. And if you don't understand that about the wealthy of our world, you really don't understand the world you live in very well. Now, I'll move on. What I wanted to say to you was, this being a Royal Naval vessel, the question was whether the Queen knew. I have, in my own opinion, mentioned, even in my own videos here, that the Queen is seen on multiple rocks being addressed by people that are not of this world. It's obvious. I'll install this picture here. This white woman we see is the Queen of England. She's being addressed by another person that's not a human. It's not the only one I've got. Now, before I move away from here, I want to bring your attention to the fact that you can actually see 6 here. And I thought initially that was 6 nuclear weapons. One thing I want you to be aware of in the Great Australian Bight, and the one thing I wanted to come to here today, is to say that I've actually seen on the rocks that these nuclear bombs that we're seeing, there are nuclear explosions shown on the rock. I've already gone through all that. I'm not going to go and repeat myself today, so if you want to go and learn, you go back and watch a few videos. I've tried to make these last lot shorter, in certainly respect the talking and instructional side of it. This was a meeting here between these ships and submarines and aircraft carrier here, which is why the front of this boat is like so. These nuclear weapons have been scattered all over the world. I thought this 6 here was the amount that was set in Australia. That's just not right. What that 6 means there, and I've seen this before, it's actually on, you can't quite see it in this one, but it actually comes up as E6. Listen, I'll be honest with you, I've also seen C5 come up a lot too, and I don't know, or, I know that there's an explosive called C4, maybe there's another explosive, but I wanted to come back here because I want you to be aware of Where this line stops here and goes that way in the Great Australian Bight is in actual fact very close to Uluru. It's the very same line that we've discussed many times. It goes around from the centre of this impact, line A, and comes back up in the middle of Australia, and that line intersects Uluru exactly. I just wanted to say that to you, but I also wanted to show you that we're getting told something here, and I wanted to show you what it was. Now, the things that I'm going to discuss today is, number one, the Royal Family's knowledge of the scattering of these nuclear weapons all over the globe. There would have been hundreds of them, hundreds and hundreds. The irony is that I actually heard on the radio the other day, or TV, that Trump had in actual fact made the amount of nuclear weapons that the US had as something that was unknown, wasn't to be told about. Apparently Biden has just come out within the last week or so of me putting these nuclear series up about nuclear holocaust, telling us how many they actually have. I wonder whether it's short 1,000 of them or so, but certainly to this point we've discussed the fact that the nuclear weapons have been supplied out of a submarine base on the west coast of America. I won't go back and repeat myself there. Once again, we have certainly been told without doubt Donald Trump was behind the delivery of these nuclear weapons with submarines, that are US submarines, that they've entered the base of Sydney or the harbour of Sydney and intended to blow it up as they have Perth. Today I'll show you where we're shown on another rock altogether about Tasmania. Another rock also makes references to, we've also discussed nuclear weapons placed in Adelaide as well, so we're talking about just about every city. Quite frankly, they were nuclear bombs planted all the way up the east coast here. They were planning to kill as many of us as possible, not just in Australia, all over the world. Paris, New York, London, there were major cities. They were going to kill as many of us as possible. And the reason is because they figure, well, if we're going to be judged by people, no, we will be judged from our maker, and they will kill everybody, as many of us as possible, that's their way of getting revenge back for those that are coming back here. And they know full well what I'm telling you is correct. They have done, and they've known for years. So our Prime Minister would know, everybody that we trust, and a lot of the media are also heavily involved in this behaviour. So be careful who you trust in the world. I've had to take an option of trusting nobody. Anyway, come back here to Australia, and I will discuss, like I said, Tasmania. But I wanted to zoom in, if you would. Uluru is right on this line here. That line that I've shown you in line A, and the impact, the very first impact, major impact that is, that started the tilt of Earth's axis, is in fact this very same line here. So we've discussed this before, I won't go over it, but what I did want to do is move into where this meets the coast down here. Because if you were aware of Australia, in the bottom portions here, there is, most of it's like this. It's pretty much straight down, straight into the ocean. There's not a lot of places you can get to, bar here. So if you come up here, this is where you can get access in here to the beach. I will just click on a picture here for you and show you that here you can get access by a four-wheel drive to this beach. And that is what we're also being told. There are nuclear weapons that were brought in by here, they were moved out of here by four-wheel drive and moved to the other cities, because not all our dams you can get to with at the bottom of the dam by going up a river. You just cannot do that. The Warragamba is one of them, and the dams that I'm about to show you in Tasmania are the same. I would expect the ones in Australia were picked up here, the ones in the Australian mainland, but the ones in Tasmania would have been delivered probably to the west coast somewhere obscure, somewhere away from prying eyes, and you're pretty much away from prying eyes there, meaning at night time. And Tasmania would be the same down here. So what we'll do is we'll discuss what they had planned for Tasmania, and the Hobart and the Derwent River, and we'll get on with that. Now the first image I'll show you is this one today, and I know this is, pretty, when I looked at this I hummed and hawed when I was looking at what I was looking at. But what made me understand what it was, and I got confirmation because like I said, we're looking once again at a microscopic image of another river rock. It's certainly not the same as any of the other rocks I've shown you up till this point. I saw this shape here as looking a bit like Tasmania, and to me I thought, well, that's odd, but what I did notice, this one here, when I move the light around this rock, once again it's really difficult for me to show you one image of a moving light source over a microscopic image of a river rock and see the whole story in one go. It's pretty impossible with a still frame sometimes. Once again, I've chosen the point that was best, where I got the best results, say that. I could see this wall very, very easily. It's a dam. When you move the light around here, you see boats and water and stuff like that on this portion here. But what actually happened, I want you to be aware of, is what I thought, and I thought, oh, well, that might be looking at Tasmania here. But what come to my attention, and I've spoken to you about highlighters before, in other words, when you get the light in the right spot, just as I showed you in that first image, with the boat in the Great Australian Bight, the R lights up. When you get the light in the right place for the shadow to make the boat, the R goes on like this. It's like it switches on. The same thing happens here. This red dot and this white dot immediately come available once you've got all four of these lines here visible. So what we're being told here is, well, like I said, my interpretation of this meant that I'll go and have a look at Tasmania, and because I don't live in Tasmania, it's a southern state, an island state of Australia, I'm aware of certain things that happen down there. At certain other times, this port here turns into an Aboriginal. The locals, they were all killed, a whole lot of them. They just murdered them all the way through the island. They hunted them like rabbits and killed off, thousands and thousands and thousands of Aboriginal men, women and children, all of them. It's not only that, but it's also the place where we had a mass shooting that removed the guns from Australia through the Howard regime. But we won't go there today either. I hope he's alive when these boys get here, that's all I can say. I loathe that man, I can assure you. But anyway, we move on, and that's what happened. I saw that these lights here, and there was also one here, these all come on at exactly the same time. As soon as you get the light in the right place to be able to see all those walls, that's actually what happens. Those highlighters all come on like this all at once. So I thought I will go and have a look at Tasmania. And I'll show you a few pictures of Tasmania. This is a close-up of Tassie. I went up the Derwent River at Hobart, goes all the way up into the mountains here. There are 3 dams very close together here, and the biggest dam is here. This is on the Derwent River. All of these dams, well, I'm not saying all of them because some of these ones down here are very small. These are all the small dams, and the biggest dam is this one here, north. Now if we go back to our image again, and realise what we're being told here, we have got the bigger dam here, which lights up when that one comes on, this one comes on, and when that one comes on is when you've got these 3 here. So we're actually seeing here exactly the very story that we've just seen in Tasmania. The 3 smaller dams are here closer together. The one that's further north, the biggest one, is here, and it marks here, and these 2 dots here are exactly in the same place as the image of Tasmania that I just showed you back here. So our dots and highlighters that come up are exactly in the same place as the portion of that image that looks like Tasmania. So I would be without doubt thinking this is what they had intending. But that isn't the only thing they had intended, because they didn't just intend to flood the back of Hobart and wash. This dam here is huge. The amount of water coming down from these 4 storage dams here would have been immense. It wasn't the only thing, because they dropped a nuclear bomb and left it in the bottom of the ocean in the deepest portion down here in the harbour to drive water back up. So it would just killed a lot of people. And if you were thinking, oh no, it's only their launch system wasn't going to cop it, you would be stupid to think that. So I would expect, like I said, there's been nuclear bombs left everywhere. You know, hundreds and hundreds of them all over the globe to kill as many people as they possibly could, with tsunamis and, you know, nuclear explosions. Now this is the second image I wanted to show you. It's off the same rock. I will install a picture of that rock now so you can see what the actual rock itself looks like. And in portions I'm on the outside of the rock, you can see that the rock is broken. Some of the best imagery is on the inside of, or where the rock appears to have been broken. That happens quite regularly, and necessarily may not have been broken, it may be manufactured in a bad way. I've discussed with you to this point many times that most of the river rocks are an actual fact process of manufacture more than they are as natural. The people that come here are very smart, been here for many millions of years, and this whole process that we go through here with this tilted axis of Earth is to weed out that behaviour from a very advanced society. Imagine, if you would, having people with the thought processes, oh, let's murder and rape and eat children, or let's drop nuclear bombs and kill hundreds of thousands of people, being in a very advanced world that had the technology to guide stars and build planets. Seriously, it does not take a lot of common sense to work out that you're not going to let that enter that type of environment. There are many beings beyond this world, many. It is known by our leaders. You do hear some truths, but certainly not all. Enough to make you think that they are a threat to all of us. And their intent was, of course, to have us fight to protect their backsides again. That is not happening here. That is what is not happening. What is happening is the nuclear bombs have been taken away. They've been taken away every time I have found. I'll insert yet again these two pictures here. A man carrying a box, a figure. This one here, another one off a rock. The very same process. We are removing your toolbox. We are removing your weapons. That is what I've said, and it was on my videos over 2 years ago. And Donald Trump knows full well about my YouTube channel and its contents, as I would expect the Queen and certainly the Prime Minister of Australia know about my content here, I can assure you that. I persist and always have thought that all the Donald Trump stuff that we see in social media about here we go one, we go all, and all those type things were in actual fact the white hats. It's just a load of rubbish. It's just, they just can't do anything but lie, and Donald Trump is a gutless mongrel. He had in actual fact command of the world's largest army, navy and air force, and yet my necessity here to do these things would not have been here if he was ever going to be on the right side of the ledger. So this has always been in my mind for a long time. Now listen, I'll come back to this picture here. I know this is not real clear, okay? It was once again something that I had to go and verify. So in the ways I verified it, like I said, in a still image it's difficult. In a moving light you can see this here is a bridge that's actually crossing from one side of this expanse here to the other. There are times where you move this around, you can see nuclear bombs going off here. All this is like a nuclear bomb. But here we see a very definite X. I'm going to show you some parts of the Derwent River and how I can tell that I know I'm in the Derwent River, where this, appears to be a bridge crossing here, this bay here, and the coastline along this bay is exactly as it is in the Derwent. I'll show you this picture. Now here, what we're looking at is the Derwent, or the Tasman Bridge across the Derwent River. So we now come down the river where the dams are way up into the valleys behind Tasmania. It's a very mountainous area. And we're talking about this bay here. That coastline there, and it goes out to a point and then goes across to the bridge. We'll go back to our other image, our rock image. And be aware that what we're seeing here is the very same thing. We've got a bay coming down like this. It goes out to a point. But it's not the only thing we see. We see in other images, as I'm moving the light around, we're seeing the port down here. And you see these boats. I'll just go to the next picture. This one here shows the bay or the boats a little easier. But what I'll bring, like I said, you can see boats in here. It's like I said, it's difficult to just get one still photo. You see the point come round like this. The bridge starts at this point here. But what you're seeing down here is the port. So you've got boats down here. You see this array here where you've got sort of like one coming in and fanning out here like this. I'll show you the next one. Now I've just gone on to the picture that's the below the Tasman Bridge. So the Tasman Bridge is right up the top here. And then you see down here is the port. And here you see the fanning out from the port. Exactly what I've just shown you on the other portion of that rock. This fanning out here. You see where the port is, the boats are here, and the fanning out of this here is exactly what we see on the rock right here. This one even more so, I think. We're seeing it a little bit clearer here. This is where you get the fanning out. The boats are a bit more on this portion here. And this one here is where we're seeing the fanning out of this here. So in my opinion, we're seeing exactly the same thing here. And the X is marking the spot of where the nuclear bomb was placed, right here. And you could say, well, how are you getting, like I said, how are you getting a nuclear explosion there, Brian? Because they show us on the rock exactly the same thing. This image here is the very same place on the rock, and here's where we're told about a bomb, right there. It's a round black ball with spikes sticking out of it. Here's your harbour with your boat down here. Here's the fanning out. X is marking the spot of where the bomb is going to be. This is where our fanning out happens down here, and like I said, when you move the light around on this, that's exactly what you see. I'll install these pictures for you so you can get a clear image of them yourself, and you will see that the black circle there is very, very easily seen that that's what it is. It's a sort of bomb. Now I want to show you the next one, because this one also tells me something that's very important. I want you to be aware of the black shadow, just like we saw with the boat. What we're getting told here is now the bomb that I just showed you in the last one is under his arm, right there. This is a figure here. I'm standing here with my hand here. I have under my arm a bomb, but I have 1, 2, 3, 4 as a count above it, because that's how many nuclear bombs were pulled out of Tasmania. Or in this case, just the dams and the harbour here. That's exactly what this is telling us. I want you to be aware of what you're seeing here. Up here you're seeing his hat. That hat above his head, like that, is what happens when you graduate. I see that. It's not the only message I had this week. I got another one. I'm finished actually. I've graduated my class. That's the other reason that's like that. I'm finished the task. And certainly if I've graduated and I have finished the task given me, well then they're taking over from this point without doubt. That's the other thing I wanted to let you know. And I've been told that in more ways than one. I don't want to sound like an idiot, although there are people that try to come along to my Facebook page or my YouTube channel. Many of you aren't. Many of you give me very positive feedback. I've had help all the way along with artifacts and information given to me that I understood, and that's helped me work it all out. So thank you very much, all of you. I just wanted to show you that. I wanted to make note of this because there is one other thing that I said to you about cars moving. I'll go back to the first image and I'll just bring your attention to one thing. Not overly clear in this image, I do realise that, but up here there is an actual fact, when you get the light right, you can get a motor vehicle in here, you know. It's very difficult to get it on this one, but there is one more video I have. I will show you places where the movement of nuclear weapons was done by, well, trucks and vans and stuff like that. These dams here, the upper one, a large one in the middle of Tasmania there, the one furthest north, You cannot access the bottom of that dam by the river. It's impossible. It's too small. They don't let enough water out for that to happen. So they would have had to deliver, certainly to that one, would have had to been delivered by a van or truck or something parked close to the dam. Like I said, they're gone. This image here is also showing us exactly that. This man here, having these bombs under his arm, is telling you, we've taken them. That's it, you're just not doing this. This is what your plans were for global annihilation and global nuclear holocaust. It's just not happening. Now I'll just play, just for a very short period of time, this is one of the videos that's taken off that very same rock. But this is where I believe we're getting told that there was some delivered by road, okay? I'll just press play and just let this go through here, and I'll point it out as it goes along, because there's certain things you begin to see. One of the things I started to see here when I was doing this was, number one, the culprit. In other words, his face will pop out here with his hair. That's how they actually draw Donald Trump. They have his hair sticking out at some ridiculous thing like this. But what you'll see in here, once you get past this point here, and like I said, it doesn't always need to be Donald Trump too, because we've also got the other bloke over in England certainly heavily involved in this, and you also see Boris and his hair displayed. It's almost like, you know, comic type imagery, if you will, like modern art. So like I said, just there, right there, you can see a truck come out. At the same time you get that, you get to see these roads down here with roundabouts. I know it's not real 100% clear, but that is what I believe we're getting told here. That in that portion, we also see this, I don't know what that is. That's a structure, I have seen it, an archaeological, you know, natural structure. So sometimes I'll go back over that, and I don't waste my time. Once I've seen something that I do understand and see it for what it is, I'll just let that play again, and I'll show you that at the same time that you get your car visible, you see the roads down here, or like a roundabout, and the roads coming down this portion here. So I'll just let you play through that once more and just let you watch what happens. But it certainly does look like there you get like the front, that's the screen of the top of the truck. This is the screen here, and you can see the front here, and it comes out at exactly the same time. You're getting roads and a roundabout type appearance here. I won't spend a whole lot of time with that, because I am going to put at the end of this video in high quality, once again, the one question I left unanswered was whether the royal family knew. Now I do realise when I'm photographing my television here that the quality you get is very poor. And I will run this video in its entirety and insert it into the end of the video when I'm finished chatting with you. But before I do so, I just want to run through one or two parts of the video, which is the other reason why I wanted to start with the image I did, this one, that showed you the Great Australian Bight, okay? And that I believe that beach was in actual fact a pick-up place of nuclear weapons supplied by the US military to the element within our own country that are, you know, involved in this filth of child rape and child sacrifice and all such things. I wanted to come back here because, and before I put the video here, I just run through just a couple of bits of it so I can explain to you what I believe we are being told. In one instance we're talking about this being the arch at the bottom of the Great Australian Bight, but in other instances it's not. It's actually the Sydney Harbour Bridge, so it's actually telling you that at the time, there are times where you get this right, and you'll see the two boats over this side. Well, once again I'll insert the imagery that we got from the sonar at the bottom of west of the bridge, the two boats that we are told were, or one boat, the bigger boat down the bottom of the deepest part of the ocean in Sydney Harbour, was the one in Sydney Harbour. But I want you to be aware that when I insert this video, but that's what you're seeing. So in other words, that at sometimes is represented at the Sydney Harbour Bridge, which is one of the other reasons you get a light at the top. But you'll also see when that happens, the boats will come up over here as being two boats again. One big long one and one shallow one up near the shallows is representative of that. But it is also representative here of the Great Australian Bight itself. Here is our person of interest. As you move through this video and the light changes, you will note this is the Black Eye Club. You know who they are. Sometimes this person here, he will be multiple people. I'll let you decide, but I know who I see when I move the light around. I'll just give you a sample as I'm moving through here, that you can get this person's face to change from one person to another based on where you have the light source. You will find who it is. You just have to hit pause and drag like this and drag your light source, and you will get your there's only one person that's going to be. She's a fair bit older in that one than all the other images that we've seen of her on the River Rocks till this point. That's who you're going to see. So I strongly recommend, like I said, when you use this, just put pause, and then I use VLC Media Player when I'm doing this, and you can just move this around. You'll see lots of other things happen here too. This is really quite an interesting video, and you'll see nuclear explosions and all sorts of things happening. You just drag the light source like this. You'll see all sorts of different things pop up here. You'll see this person turn into, yeah, look, it looks like they're even sticking their tongue out at us there. We'll show you. And like I said, it's the Black Eye Club here because you can see in multiple images, and if you are aware of things, you'll see the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Charles, John Kerry, all sorts of people like this at times walking around with a black eye, and it's their left eye. I just love the work they do, honestly. I truly, truly love the work that the people that left on these rocks. And here you're seeing now a representation of the nuclear bomb being left in the Great Australian Bight down here. You know, so that's what I'm saying to you. You'll see multiple images, and I do it that way. I go slowly. It's really difficult on a big screen like this because it's so big. It's great to watch it when you're back there, but sitting right up here like this with me being right on top of it, you know, it's not as good. Once again, like I said, you can see the archway here, sometimes being representative of the Australian, you know, the Great Australian Bight, and sometimes representative of being the bridge. But it is interesting that you've got this little kink in here like this, which is exactly as we showed, and I was able to show you on the Great Australian Bight image. Now I wanted to show you this, albeit I'm not going to put this video at the end of this, because like I said, some of these videos I might stand there with my light moving around like this for 26 minutes, nearly half an hour going like this, you know. It's something that requires a lot of patience, and if you knew me, I'm not the most patient person on the planet Earth, I can assure you. I wanted to show you this one because I found that there were some things in this video that were really, really quite outstanding. It once again showed the Great Australian Bight, and if you go back and look at the image I showed you of Tassie, there's almost the image of a line, you know, in the harbour, like on the river floor there. This one did the same thing. It's like the Sphinx. Like it's a really quite an amazing thing. I'm going to just move through this very quickly again. I won't leave this one at the end because, like I said, I can get to the point where there's too many. And I wanted to show you this because not only did it show you that, it showed me once again a small boat here. I believe that we are getting told that there were distribution of nuclear bombs through small boats where possible to the bottom of a dam, or that some of them may have been placed in the bottom of the ocean by a small boat, you know. But we've shown you that before, that there are references to a small boat. But this small boat that in sunlight looks like that, it changes, and you watch what happens here. It is really, this is spectacular, this one. It really is spectacular. I won't leave this one in, like I said, because this one here on its own is 17 minutes long. I just zoom through like this, and I'll find some good bits in this one that I wanted to show you. If you knew the Great Australian Bight very well, you're actually seeing the very same thing here again. And you also know that in the Great Australian Bight is a breeding ground of the great white. And you actually see a shark come out here. This actually turns into a figure of a shark. I'll just move along here very slowly so you can see what I'm saying. It changes from being what looks like a small boat with somebody in it, and then you gradually move through here, and it turns to a shark. It's really amazing. So, some of the way they do things is amazing. It truly is. And what you're actually seeing here is portions of the bottom of Australia, going to Great Australian Bight and so on. But you can see as I'm moving this through here, the image is changing, like so, and you can get to where it really looks like a shark at times, and at other times it'll look like like I said, it's like the Sphinx or something looking this way, or that type of a line, same like what we saw in the first one. I'll review this. If it doesn't look any good, I'll take it out. But I think we're seeing enough of what I wanted to show you there. It looks like a boat in some respects. It's about there. You start to see the fin of a shark come up here, and if you knew Great Australian Bight, that's where it is, and what's actually showing us is the bottom of Australia here anyway. So once again, we've got a reference to a small boat. I think in the other video I will put on will be the Queen one. Okay, I'll put that one with the black-eyed person in there so that it's clearer for you to see. So you can see as I'm going through here, it really is quite an amazing, some of what they have and the way they do it. It is really, see there? You can see almost like a shark here. There's its fin coming up here, and it's like the front half of a shark. And what you're actually looking at here is the bottom of Australia as well. It's actually making up the coast of the Great Australian Bight. That's exactly what it's doing. Telling us they met here again, right where I just told you. It's what happens. So they've been looking at them, and you will see human eyes everywhere. Or the appearance of an eye will pop out in lots and lots of images. I've shown you that before, but I just thought I'd just run that by you just quickly there. You can sort of see there where it's looking like a shark. Whereas back here, if I go back here, the very same part of the rock, we are back down into looking at a man in a boat, a little boat going along with a guy sitting in the back of it here. So I just wanted to show you that one because that looks really unreal on a nice clear screen. I know photographing it like this, you do lose some of the clarity, certainly, with that situation. Listen, I think I'm finished now. Like I said, I will insert this picture here once more for you to have the original. I see the black figure there is telling me not only the bombs have gone and been taken yet again, but I certainly see the man with his hat and a graduation thing, and it's not the only thing. I did get some sort of a message the other day as well that I am finished. I have graduated and finished my task, and if I finish my task, they're certainly taking over from that point. So I've urged the people in my place here in Australia, I've sent my stuff everywhere. You have no idea. I've gone through every state premier, every leader of the opposition, deputy leader of the opposition, multiple politicians in multiple parties. I've let them know about everything that's on this channel. They know it's here, and this COVID thing is nothing more than a load of rubbish. Once again, an attempt to spoil the seed of mankind, which is obviously something else we are here for. Okay, so the seed of mankind is like a bad apple. If you've got a bad apple in a bunch, it'll turn the rest off. That's the situation. And all of this is all here because a bloke like me, if it was me this time, could have been somebody else, man, it will be somebody else like me 1,000 times over. It will always be as this. And it will always be as this because this, like I said, this cycle of Earth, the 6,000 years with the tilt on an axis like this, as close to the sun as it is exactly why it's done, to filter the behaviour of men and women on our planet, to ensure that that behaviour doesn't extend beyond. Okay, that is why. It's never ever going to enter a very advanced society, and that is what the whole purpose of it is. And I'm sure we'll all get the lessons. My lessons here, I am absolutely certain that will be given to each and every one of us, so don't panic and don't stress. And certainly, without doubt, I can assure you now, the mere fact that these people were going to try and kill us all tells you that the leaders of the world know God exists, and not only that, but the people that have done this for millions and millions and millions of years, they too believe God exists. And if you're a person that thinks that the afterlife is I'm going to get eaten by worms, I'm afraid not. There's far more to life than that. And it isn't anybody's God, it's everybody's God. It's just merely saying that we have, beyond a real natural existence like we have now, a spiritual being and a spiritual existence, because that's basically all it is. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Once again, I will thank everybody that's helped me get to the end of this journey with the assistance you've done by sending me all bits and pieces. I'll just say to you all this, thank you very, very much. And I'm done. So what I'll do now is put the video on, and I will let you look at the original of the one where I perceive we are told without doubt the Royal Family were well and truly behind the laying of nuclear weapons all over the globe, and as was Donald Trump, Boris Johnson, and there are probably a multitude of other leaders. Whether they got them into Japan, China, Asia, Russia, I have no idea. Really, it's irrelevant, because these people are going to take them all away, and they'll start by taking the people away that put them there, and they'll keep taking away people until the truth of mankind is told. That's the reality of life here. That's what's going to go down. There will be no nuclear war by the US warmongers or anybody else from any other country for that matter. It is just not going to happen that way. That is all from Brian Whitten and ETR. At this point, I can't see any reason why. I've got to go and do some other things, and I believe the markets are opening up, so I can go and sell some of the stuff that I can go and sell some of the cups and t-shirts that I put some of the imagery on, because these come out really, really spectacular when you put them on a cup. They're so vivid, and the colours are beautiful, and the images are far clearer than you're seeing here. Anyway, that's all from Brian Whitten and ETR. Thanks very much again. Bye bye.